Welcome to the Sustainable Success Show, where we share real-world ideas, strategies, and systems to help you build success that lasts in business and life. Each episode delivers practical insights you can apply immediately without burnout, chaos, or short-term fixes that don't scale. At the foundation is emotional intelligence and effective communication, how you lead yourself and how you connect with others across personalities, generations, and cultures, because that's where trust, engagement, and performance are created. I'm Christopher Salem, your host, and this is where sustainable success becomes your competitive advantage. All right, welcome to Sustainable Success. You joined us here, and we hope everyone is having a great week. If you found us here for the first time, we want to welcome all new listeners. Sustainable Success now has been around for over 9 years. It's hard to believe we've been on the air for that long, and recently went to a new platform back in January, where now we offer a video portion of our show. And also, we're not doing an hour long, but 30-minute format. Yes, we listen to you, the listeners, that you want to get content in a more concise manner, and that's where we delivered. And again, we want to thank all of our loyal listeners that have been with us now for over 9 years with the old format, when we pioneered the Voice America Influencer channel back in 2017, as well as moving over to the Voice America Business channel back about 5 years ago. Our show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. We want to also encourage everybody, make sure to follow Sustainable Success also on Spotify, Apple, also our new YouTube channel at my personal page at Christopher R. Salem. That's Christopher R. Salem. And then, of course, our Facebook page, which we've been there for 9 years at Sustainable Success 2017. Well, we got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about resilience needed to be a successful business person, and we are going to be here with somebody I've known for quite some time, just a genuine and stand-up guy, great professional speaker, Daniel Gomez. He's recognized as one of the top keynote speakers in the world, a transformational force whose presence on stage elevates the room and ignites leaders into action. As an award-winning international keynote speaker, business coach and consultant, executive coach and corporate trainer, Daniel is sought after by organizations around the globe for his unmatched ability to unlock human potential and shift cultures in a single presentation. Commanding audiences with a signature blend of authenticity, storytelling, and high-impact success principles, Daniel has become one of the most influential voices in the speaking world today. His message transcends business. It transforms lives. People do not just listen to Daniel, they experience him. Now, he also has a best-selling book, among other books that he has, The Makings of a Millionaire Mindset, established him as a global authority on mindset, wealth-building psychology, and leadership rooted in purpose. His work equips individuals and organizations with the inner architecture needed to win at the highest levels while remaining grounded in faith, integrity, and emotional intelligence. Now, I could keep going on. He has worked with elite leaders and world-class teams, including the U.S. Air Force, Fortune-level corporations, and small businesses around the globe. And without further ado, and he has a podcast, by the way, and you're going to learn more about that, the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. He has had that show running very consistently for several years as well. And without further ado, we welcome Daniel Gomez to the show. Daniel, how you doing today?
Chris, man, I'm pumped up, excited to be here. I had it circled on my calendar, and just thank you for hosting me and having me. And I'm excited to drop some massive value to your audience again. So thank you for having me, my friend.
Thank you. Daniel, we always like to start off with the show with, coming from a personal background. Like when we're talking about resilience needed to be a successful business person, let's start with you and what it took for you through resilience, going through challenges, embracing those challenges, turning those challenges into opportunities. And as you turn those opportunities, now you made them into results and where it took you. Because to set the foundation of what you're going to share today with our listeners.
It started when I was 18, Chris. I shot myself. I shot myself as a senior. It took 4 hours before I got to the hospital. And when I came to, I had wires all over my belly and I felt this big. I felt like a loser because now I'm alive and I wondered why I lived. And then I got this big old scar now that I'm going to carry for myself the rest of my life. And that was the foundation of my resilience, overcoming myself wanting to be dead and shooting myself and killing myself. And I want business owners to understand that you're more resilient than you realize. See, my resilience started when I was 18 because I had to overcome that negative self-talk that, man, you're so stupid. You couldn't even kill yourself right. Think about what I'm saying. Because that very situation and season in my life as I grew out of that and I really started understanding, man, God had a bigger purpose for me. When I started my business in 2017, there was a lot of adversities coming my way, and I had to reflect back on the foundation that I had built when I was 18 because every time I looked in the mirror when I was younger, I'd be like, man, how dumb can you be? You can't even do anything right. And that dialogue kept me there. But once I outgrew that and shifted my mindset, I reflected on that season of my life when I started my business in 2017 because now I understood that I had to develop. This is where most businesses fail, Chris, is they come into business thinking like an employee and they want to solve every problem as an employee, 9 to 5 thinking. And man, let me tell you, we need resilience to overcome that old thinking because I had to become and develop that business mindset. And it's resilience because I call it going from the caterpillar to the butterfly, and there's a cocoon season in the middle where your thinking really starts to change and you start seeing things from being business minded. But right away, new entrepreneurs or new business owners, they want to see that instant gratification, and it doesn't operate that way. It doesn't work that way in business, Chris.
It sure doesn't, Daniel. I mean, that's an illusion, a fairy tale that a lot of times people have been fed to believe through marketing and what they see like on social media. But in reality, it is hard work. And, opportunities don't come out of thin air. They are born from challenges. And we've been taught to believe that challenges are a bad thing. That's why our fear-based mindset resists them and we try to avoid them. But there are opportunities that if for every challenge, there's an opportunity. You took a life-changing event, when you tried to commit suicide and you, thank God, failed at it and you lived, and how it changed your life. You didn't realize it at the time, but what it did for you later on in life, that set a foundation for all the great things that you're doing, have been doing, and what you've been helping other people and businesses to do. So elaborate from there and share with us how this resilience, I mean, it's not just a will to keep moving forward, but it's also a strategy. It's also a plan, and how we got to keep moving through and taking those challenges and finding the opportunities to turn into results.
Well, I'm going to I'm going to give your audience a couple of words to choose from because everybody has a different perspective, right? We see things. We see things as we want to see them through our own lens. And sometimes you got to take off your lens. So, Chris, we're using the word resilience. I'm going to also include the word, you got to have grit. You got to be gritty. And for us out there, right, you got to have heart. Some of you, right? Grit, heart, resilience, it's the same, just in a different word. And many of you start and you expect things to be easy, but you give up soon as the resilience, right? Soon as a pushback comes, there's right write this down, ladies and gentlemen. The resilience is built through the resistance. The resilience is built through the resistance. It's the very resistance that is making you stronger. It's the very fact that you're stuck in the mud and you can't get out because you can't figure out, why can't I get my revenue to 5,000 to 10,000 to 20,000 a month? You're stuck in the mud, but it takes grit. You gotta get your shoes out of the mud and you gotta be gritty. And some of you swallow in your own self-pity. Oh, this doesn't go right. Oh, my book didn't sell. Oh, who cares? That's where your heart comes in. You got to believe in something bigger. You got to believe that. Remind yourself. I had to remind myself, Chris, of when I shot myself, and man, I bounced back from that. Man, my heart strengthened. And in the same way in business, it's the very adversity that strengthens your character, strengthens your heart, and it's going to give you, this is the key word, the capacity to handle the next level of business. Let me explain. Where I'm at now, when me and you connected many, many years ago already, I've been blessed to have you as a friend, as a true brother and colleague in business. I said, man, I can do that. But if I would have had, listen to what I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, the success that I have now, Chris, we just moved into our 1,600 square foot facility, spent thousands of dollars in furniture and all these things, infrastructure. If I wanted this 8 years ago, but the truth is, I didn't have the capacity. I only had a 16-ounce, 20-ounce capacity back then in 2018. Now I have a 5-gallon capacity, so I can handle it. And many of you, you don't have the capacity to handle it. Let me give you an example of capacity. If you're one of those people that says, I'm overwhelmed, I'm too busy, I can't do this, do that, then that means you have a small capacity. That means you have a tablespoon capacity. And in order to have a successful business, you have to extend your capacity to be able to handle, like me and Chris travel. It doesn't matter if we get in to our airport at 8 o'clock right on time, or if we get delayed and we show up at 1 o'clock in the morning at the airport when nobody's there. It's happened many times. We show up the next day because we're professionals. That's the capacity that you need. And many of you, you get delayed. Oh, I got to reschedule because I'm too tired. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, in business, everything you want, Chris, and you know this, is on the other side of I don't feel like it.
No, you're absolutely right, Daniel. The thing about, and a term I always use, what you just shared, is discipline. Discipline means you're doing things that you know consciously are good for you, but yet you resist it because you don't like to do it. But knowing that by doing it, it's only going to make you better. And your inner, your inner critic can easily talk you out of it. But that's why the discipline is what keeps you in the game. The motivation in itself is fleeting because you have to be able to do the things you don't maybe like to do in order to have the things that you desire to have as a result of it.
Yes. Well, the truth is this, is that in business, there's so many facets, but let's talk about one thing that breaks my heart, because you're a great business consultant and coach, and me and you are in that same lane. It's people want a successful business, but they don't want to invest in A, themselves, and then B, in the business. Let me say it again. They want, man, I want to speak on stage like Chris. I want a business like Daniel, but they don't want to invest in themselves, and they don't want to invest in their business. And I want you to understand this truth, ladies and gentlemen. I started in 2017 in my own business. So by the time I get to 2030, I've already gone through 5 or 6 identity changes within my own self. So what identity are you holding on to that's stopping yourself and your business from going? What identity are you holding on to from over there that's keeping you from going over there where you want to go? Because you got to understand that your old identity, like I referenced, the caterpillar to the butterfly, that's just one. That's just one transition. You're gonna have to go through that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. I think the average business person within a lifetime goes anywhere from, I think it's 7 to 12 levels of business. They go through 7 identity shifts and 7 identity changes, and you cannot do business in today's world with an old identity that no longer serves you. And many people, they think that, man, I can do this, but not the way I used to do it. You need to shift your identity, and that's the resilience you need. You need to have the resilience. Listen to what I'm going to say. Your new life is going to cost you your old life. That next level of business is going to cost you the first version of your business. So you have to have resilience, knowing that it's going to take effort to get to the next level, because it's when you realize that it's a whole lot easier to make a whole lot of money in a short period of time than what it is to make a little bit of money over a long period. That's when the breakthrough happens, because so many people are still stuck, Chris, trading dollars for hours, and they're wondering why their business is stuck, because they're stuck in that old identity of an employee.
So true. And you think about, even professional athletes that are very gifted, and they get drafted number 1 in the NFL draft, and all of a sudden they went from nothing to where now their talent is now bringing in millions of dollars, but their identity is still not matched to that money. And what usually ends up happening, they sabotage their talent and careers and do something stupid to just ruin everything because their identity didn't match where they were at, and
Yes.
they didn't give them that, they didn't give themselves that opportunity to shed that old identity to now adopt a better one.
Yeah, and I can tell, right, we just moved in here February 1st. They gave us the keys January 15th. And myself, we started 8 years ago in a small corner office in our bedroom, little glass desk. And then we moved into our first office. The last office we had, it was a nice office. But this one, the word that God gave me was opulence. It's going to be a place of opulence. So I wanted to just kind of move the old furniture in here and we can buy and branch out from there. But no, God said the whole vision that I have is a new DGE. And then my daughter goes out there and she's buying this sign and this. I'm like, my mind's saying we don't need to spend $1,000 on a sign, right? The old Daniel, the old identity. So I had to really embrace investing in the furniture, the setup of the atmosphere, the ambiance of our new office. We had a new author come in and said, "This place makes me want to spend money." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, that's what you want from your clients because if you make it hard for them, right? Sometimes the resilience is your own thinking.
It is so true, so
We
true.
want we want to have that great revenue, that great growth, but we don't want to let go of what's in our hands to receive what God has for us. And I can tell you, once I invested in the furniture and everything else, the revenue came in that we needed to cover the expenses. But if you don't listen to me in business, ladies and gentlemen, if you stop your own money flow in business, you're killing yourself because you're making a dam in your own business, and there has to be money in and money out, joyful money in, joyful money out. And if you don't understand that and you're damming up, oh, I gotta save, right? The old thinking was employee, I gotta save for a rainy day. Forget that thinking because that's going to kill you. That's why most businesses are out of business within the first year. And then after that, the next 80% are out of business within 5 years, Chris, because
Yeah.
they want to operate in the old identity, in the old way of thinking when it comes to money. And you have to enjoy the money flow and be grateful, right? Thank you that I get to pay to stay at the hotel to speak at this conference. Thank you that I get to pay my employees on time. Thank you, God, that I get to pay and invest in direct deposit. I think if I had a huge win in 2024, it's that I got direct deposit. Like that was my biggest win in 2024 because to me it's like, man, that's a big business. And even though I wasn't where we're at now, it's like in my mind there was a shift. So the resilience that I developed in those times of when revenue was down or it was up and employees were being let go or leaving our organization, that's part of the growth. You got to enjoy it. And the mistake that a lot of business owners make, Chris, is they hold on to someone too long and their season in the organization is they your season has passed them up. Listen to what I'm about to say. Chris referenced sports earlier. Chris is from the Northeast. The New England Patriots wouldn't be the New England Patriots if Drew Bledsoe wouldn't have gotten hurt. Drew Bledsoe only had the capacity as a leader. He only had so much resilience, and he choked every time he got to the NFC East Championship. But it was him getting hurt, Brady stepping in with a better resilience, more focus, and Chris's word, more self-disciplined, and that's what catapulted him inside the touchdown to get him to the Super Bowl. So listen, what's the lesson behind that in business? What got you to the end to the Eastern Conference Championship is not going to get you to the Super Bowl. What has to change in your business to get you into the Super Bowl within your own business? And many people don't see business like that, Chris.
True, it's true, Daniel, and it's not something like it's like going to 4 years of college and then you graduate, right? This is ongoing. There's always going to be a different another elevated version of you, depending upon what that means to you in terms of growth. I mean, sometimes it could be in the business, it could be financially. Sometimes it may not be that. Maybe it changes down the road, and now it's about your health. It's about your relationships. Because again, life in business is about harmony. So it's constantly shifting and evolving over time. But you have to do your part, because if you expect it to like fall in your lap or someone's going to do it for you, that doesn't happen. Faith doesn't work that way. It's a two-way street. Your faith is doing its part, but you got to do your part.
Yes, well, but so great. So as your identity changes, like you're talking about, your language has to change.
Yeah.
You can't use the language of five identities ago, right? In our new book, the Millionaire Mind language, words that create wealth. Executive and CEOs over here, they don't speak like solopreneurs over here. They have a different language. And if your language is not changing, your identity definitely isn't changing. So I'll give you an example of what we write about in the book is when you just think you're new to sales, your business is new, you're calling people. I finally get hold of Chris, and then we make the mistake and we say this, Chris, did I catch you at a bad time? Think about that for a moment. I chased Chris down on LinkedIn for 3 months. He finally agrees to have a virtual coffee with me or jump on a call with me. Chris answers the phone, and I say, did I catch you at a bad time? And because you think like a 9 to 5er, you kill your own opportunity. Because that's an example of what I talk about in the book. That's having a weak language, and weak language is going to get you weak results in business. You have to have a resilient language and speak with intention. Speak with intention and knowing. And
That's true.
most small businesses, their language hasn't graduated to the next level. So I highly recommend you go get a copy on Audible and on Amazon, because it's going to help you. And I don't say that because this is the truth. My language wasn't changing for about a year, Chris, in my business, and I was wondering why I was stuck, because I was still talking about and being the old Daniel and using his old language. And your identity changes, and the language has to just align with the new identity, Chris.
True, because words make up 7% of effective communication. Body language and tone are higher, of course, but it's energy, it's frequency. And when your frequency is low, you're not attracting, or you're attracting just the level that your frequency will allow, what you talked about earlier, your capacity, because now your capacity is this, so it can only let so much in, and that's it. Unless you expand, unless you elevate your frequency, your capacity can now open up. You can now think bigger, and you don't see these limitations as, hey, I can't grow. No, you just say, okay, here's what's happening. What can we do now to make this better? And it's always looking for the glass half full, not the glass half empty. You have to, be able to take calculated risks. You have to be able to make swift decisions. You have to be able to take your lumps and as well.
Yeah.
And that's all part of the process, what you had shared. What are some things, Daniel, like, somebody that's listening right now that would say right now, if I want to get to that next level, what would be the first step that you would share with them?
What helped me, Chris, is I hired a coach right off the bat. When I started my business, I hired my first speaker coach that helped me. And then I hired a business coach because I realized, man, I need to understand more business. And the mistake that people make, going back to the 9 to 5 mindset, they see everything as a cost. Write this down, ladies and gentlemen. You are your best investment. You watching this right now, listening to this, you are your best investment. And there's nothing that's going to come back, no better investment that's going to give you a 1,000-fold return than you investing in yourself. Because one thing I learned when I started in automotive sales over 25 years ago, one of my managers said, Daniel, when you learn the skill set, when you really master the skill set of sales, no one can ever take that away from you. Because if you can sell cars, you can sell insurance. If you can sell insurance, you can sell donuts. But the reality, I realize this in business, we're always selling ourselves, Chris, even when we don't realize it. And you know who the best salesmen in the world are? Babies. You go to the grocery store, you're in line at HEB or whatever grocery store, your Safeway, and your 2-year-old, your baby's crying because they want that candy, and they close the mom or dad. Right, we want them to be quiet. They just keep crying until they close you on it.
Well,
So what are we selling?
body language and tone because they can't speak yet.
Yes. So it's understanding. It's understanding that you are your best investment. So hire a coach, hire a mentor, pay for them, because what you pay, right? Listen to this wisdom. When business owners pay, they pay attention. When people pay, they pay attention. When people get stuff for free, they take it for granted many times. So hire a coach, and then second, be honest with yourself. What's your relationship with money? Because if you have the wrong relationship with money, you're gonna self-sabotage yourself. You're gonna really take a moment, write down some questions. What's my relationship with money? How does money make me feel? And then really, right, it's like, is money a good thing or a bad thing in my life? And most people, they have the wrong relationship with money. And this listen, ladies and gentlemen, you deflect money because you have the wrong money beliefs. So what do I mean by that? Here, I have $100 bill right here. You wake up in the morning as a believer. I'm a Christian, so I'm gonna say as a believer, business owner. You pray to God, oh God, help me, but you still think in poverty and you think money is evil. So you pray for a client. Chris shows up, and Chris is right in front of me, but I don't see him because my belief is money's not important. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Chris is gonna give me, right. It's an exchange of value. When Chris, when Chris is gonna hire me for my services, he's gonna give me money and pay me. But since we believe that money's not important, subconsciously we deflect all the opportunities around us, because Chris is gonna become revenue. And what is revenue? Money. But your belief is money's not important. So understand that money is important. It's not everything, but the truth is this: you need money to be in business. You need money to pay overhead. So money is a vital key that you use, because money's going to give you the freedom that you need in your business. Money's going to help you invest in yourself. So the truth fact, Chris, is many people, it breaks my heart when they come to our Millionaire Mind boot camp and they have the wrong relationship with money, and then they cry because they have a belief. Listen to what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. You as a business owner, you're making most of your decisions in the beginning as a child you were 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah. This has been a wealth of information that you shared here. I know we're towards the end of the show, and I want to make sure that we definitely have you on for a future show. I want to thank you for not only myself, but the rest of the team here at Sustainable Success for sharing your valuable insights. We want to let the listeners know, how can they get best in touch with you? What are you up to? Anything that you'd like to provide them here today? And
Yes,
those that will listen later.
well, text the word millionaire, right? Millionaire, all just small lowercase letters. Text the word millionaire to 210-942-5059. That's 210-942-5059. I'm going to give your audience a complimentary PDF of affirmations. They can change their way of thinking in business, because when your language changes and your thinking changes, everything changes. And then follow me on social media. Follow me at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Instagram, on Facebook, and I love to connect with you. Send me a message, send me a DM, and let me know that you heard us here with Chris Salem, and we'd love to help you and bless you with the complimentary 30-minute discovery session of how we can help serve you. And just put Chris Salem discovery session, and it'll be my gift to your audience, Chris. So thank you so much for having me, and what an amazing time. And I love you, my friend, and thank you for being you.
Same to you, Daniel. Thank you so much. And we highly encourage everybody to reach out to Daniel. He's just a genuine, down-to-earth guy. Again, looking to really connect with you, not transactionally, but in a relationship way. Again, you could also reach out to us, and we'll make sure to connect you to Daniel. But again, connect with him on LinkedIn. And again, take that offer with the affirmations. We highly encourage you to do that. We want to thank you, listeners, joining us each and every week. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts each and every week, like Daniel, to share their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you personally and your business to the next level. If you would like to see content that we have not covered on a future show, feel free to reach out to our team here at Chris@sustainablesuccess.net. That's Chris at sustainablesuccess.net. We'll make sure to see about having that subject matter covered on a future episode. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week. We'll see you here next week at the same time, Fridays at 12 noon East Coast time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Take care.